Hello developers, welcome to day 13 of our 15 days object-oriented programming series. In this video, we'll try to understand the last object-oriented programming feature, that is encapsulation. What is the meaning of encapsulation? Take an example of a capsule. So what you put in the capsule? We put medicine and wrap it inside a capsule. So to protect that medicine from outside. So similarly, encapsulation is a feature of binding the data within class and its members and restricting the accessibility from the outside world. So we already know how do we declare a class and its members like instance members, static members, constructors, etc. So far we just declared classes, interfaces and then its members and invoked one member inside another member. If it is an instance variable, we would have created an object and access the members, and if it is a static member, directly we would have accessed it from the class name or an interface name. But in some situations, we need to restrict the accessibility of certain kind of a data to the outside world. Like example, even our own information. So based on the information, we share it with few people. Like if it is a public, so we can share it with anyone. And if it is so private, just keep it within yourself. If it is some sensitive data where you want to share it only with your friends or your family members, sometimes some information you can spread it to the world. So similarly, in any application, some sensitive information, we need to restrict the accessibility. For restricting the accessibility, we use access modifiers. So Java provides 4 access modifiers: public, private, default, and protected. So we don't declare the default accessibility using default keyword because the default keyword is already reserved within the switch statement. So if you don't provide any access modifier like public, private, or protected, then it is considered to be default. Now let us understand how you create your classes, interfaces, or members with these access modifiers and how they'll change the accessibility based on the access modifier what you use programmatically. Hey, thanks for watching our content so far. If you're new to Training Mark, we're the fastest growing technology training company and create content to help freshers like you to master the disruptive technologies like full stack development, AML, cloud, DevOps, etc. If you like the content so far, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon not to miss any new content from us. Like and share this video with all your friends. Let's build your career and the community together. So to demonstrate this, I'm now creating a new Java package. I'll call this as encapsulation.p1. Okay. So just to give you an idea. Now within this P1, now I'm going to create a class A. I'm just creating certain categories. Okay. Now then I'm creating another class called B. And then within this P1, I'm now creating another class called C. But this C extends A. Okay. Now I'll just brief you about it. Then I'm creating another package called P2. And within this P2, I'm now creating a class called X. And within this P2, I'm now creating a class again called Y. This Y extends A. Okay. But this A belongs to this P1 package, so we need to import it. Okay. So this is the way that we usually create your entire project in different packages. So here I'm going to create certain categories where you can access a class or its members. Visually, you can access a component in 5 different categories. The first one is within the same class. Let us take an example of A. So A can be accessed within the same class. A belongs to a package P1. Second category is other classes of same package. In our case, B. B belongs to P1 package. There is no association of B and A, but they both belongs to the same package. The third category is subclass of same package. In our case, it is C. C is a subclass from A within the same package. So like that C, you can have a number of classes. Fourth category is other class of other package. So in our case, it is X. X belongs to P2, right? So you can have n number of classes like this. Now the fifth category is subclass of other package. In our case, it is Y because Y is a subclass of A. You can create thousands of classes with hundreds of packages, but you can access any component within these 5 categories. Now let us understand how you can access and then its members. Now first let us talk about class A. Alright. Now this class A is declared with a public, means it can access anywhere. When I say access, you can access the dot class file of the particular class, right? If the class is accessible, then you can access its members. Suppose if I'm now creating few members here. I'm now creating int x is equal to some value 100, and then I'm creating void m1, a method just to declare s out m1 is called. Okay. Now let us add the accessibility here. Now first let us try to access my class A. Since it is public, now I'm creating my main method here. Now within this main method, I'm now creating an object AA. Means I'm accessing this A within the same class. I think you can access it, right? So the dot class file is accessible, right? I'm creating an object or not, it's a different case. For that you need to have a accessibility of the constructor, but now the class is accessible here. And similarly, now I'm going to B, and within B, I'm now having main. Now I can say AA. So means it also can access class A because it is a public accessibility. Now let us say class C. Now class C, which is a subclass, so I don't need the class because being a subclass, I can access all the members, but still you can access the class name AA. Now let us come back, let us come to the other package, like the fourth category, other class of other package. Now I'm now trying to access AA. Now it will give you an error because A is not available within the same package. What do you have to do? You have to import. Now you see here, so it is now giving an error. Now we need to import a class. Now when we import, then it is allowing that, okay, I'm now able to access the class. Now within the fifth category is within the subclass. Now I'm creating my main. Now here also I can access because it's not required because it's already a subclass. So when you have a public, you can access it everywhere. Suppose if I remove this public, then by default it is considered to be default accessibility. So when you create a class to be default, so by default it will be accessible within the same package. Now you see, I'm not getting an error in A, I'm not getting an error in B, I'm not getting an error in C, but I'm getting an error in X. See, it is giving an error saying that A is not public. Okay, so cannot be accessible outside the package. So the default cannot be accessible outside the package. So now here also, even though you're trying to access it in package 2, so it is giving the same error. Okay. Now for class or interface, I can use either public or default. I cannot create it to be private. So if I create it to be private, you'll get an error because it is not allowed here. Okay. And similarly, protected also you can't create it. So for a class, you can use either public or default, right? So now I'm making it as public. So before actually accessing the members, you should first check whether the class is accessible or not. If the class itself is not accessible, there is no point of accessing its members, right? So now let us talk about the members. Now the members, when I say, it could be a variable, could be instance variable or a static variable, or it could be a constructor. Okay, now I'm saying that A is called the constructor. Now, or it could be a method, same thing, instance method or a static method. Now first let us declare it to be public. Okay. Now when I say public, it can be accessible anywhere. Now, okay, now let me create the constructor also here because it is an instance variable. I want to create an instance. How do you create an instance? AA is equal to new A. I'm now creating an object. So here I'm accessing the constructor. Constructor is also a member. So here I'm accessing it because I made it public. Public means anywhere you can access. So now I'm now writing in a out saying that A.x. Now when I run this, now I got A is called and then I got 100 because it invoked constructor and then I got the value of A. Now within B, now let me try to create AA is equal to new A, right? And then S out A.x. Now within the other class of same package, so when I run this, now I got say A is called and then I got 100, right? Now similarly in the subclass, I don't need the object directly I can access, but still if you want to create an object, new A and then S out A.x. So now when I run this, I will get A is called 100. So means public, you can access it anywhere. Now I'm now creating here as well. So S out A.x and then when I run this, now it is going to give me A is called 100 and within the subclass also I can do that new A and then S out a.x. So public means I can access it everywhere. Now let me change this to private. Now when I say private, this is accessible only within the same class. Outside the class you can't access. Now you see you got an immediate error inside B saying that a.x is not visible. It is saying that x is private access, so you can't access this. Now similarly out in subclass also you can't access this, and outside the class you can't access it. Everywhere you'll get the same error. Okay. So now then let me create it to be default. So if I don't mention anything, then it is considered to be default. The default accessibility will give you an error outside the package because it can be accessible only within the same package. I would say that X is not public, so you can't access from outside the package. Now, even in subclasses also, you can't access, you'll get the same error. Now, if I create it to be default, protected, so now here, you are going to get the error in outside the package, okay, of other class of other package, you can't access it. But within the subclass, you can access it, but not through the base class object, but you can access it directly, okay, something like this, through the subclass. Okay, now S out, directly I can create an object here of y is equal to new y, and then S out y.x. Okay, now this is allowed. So you always can access protected through the subclass object. So now this is not possible, but this is possible. So when you run this, you're going to get A is called. Okay, now I have an error here. Okay, let me comment out this. You can't access. Now let me run this. So now you got A is called and then you got 100. So this is the way you can restrict the accessibility of class interface or its members using access modifiers. If you like this video, please hit a like and share it with all your friends. Let's build a great developer community all together. See you in the next videos.